Millionaire sees a poor woman wearing his grandmother's necklace. Her secret shocks him. The ballroom was glowing. Golden lights sparkled from the high ceiling. People in fancy clothes laughed, sipped wine, and talked about money. Nicholas Davenport stood by the window, holding a glass of sparkling water. He wore a black tuxedo, perfect as always. His short dark hair was brushed back, and his face was calm, too calm. But inside, he was bored. This was just another charity gala. Another event full of smiles that meant nothing. Another evening of pretending. Then his eyes stopped. Across the room, near the back, a woman was carrying a tray of drinks. She was not like the others. Her black dress was old and faded. Her shoes looked too small, and her hands were shaking. Nicholas didn't know why he kept looking. Maybe it was her face. There was something, soft, familiar. Then he saw it. A necklace, a golden locket with a green stone in the center, an emerald. His heart stopped. No, it couldn't be. That necklace had been his grandmother's. She wore it every day until the end of her life. It was special. It was hers. It had been stolen years ago, after her funeral. Everyone said it was gone forever, but now it was here, around the neck of a poor woman serving drinks. Nicholas stepped forward, his glass forgotten. His chest tightened. Was he dreaming? Isla Carter didn't like parties. She wasn't a guest, she was a server. Her job was simple: keep her head down, move fast, and don't drop anything. But tonight, her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She had worn the necklace for comfort. She never took it off. It was all she had left of her mother. She looked up and froze. A man was staring at her. Not just any man. Nicholas Davenport. She had seen him on magazine covers. A millionaire, maybe even a billionaire. People said he built his fortune from nothing. People said he was cold and clever. He was walking toward her, fast. Her hand went to the necklace, her fingers closing around it. Her eyes met his, and her heart started pounding. Nicholas didn't stop. He reached her in seconds. His voice was low but sharp. "Where did you get that necklace?" Isla stepped back. It was my mother's," she said, her voice small. Nicholas narrowed his eyes. "That's impossible," he said. "That belonged to my grandmother." Isla blinked fast. Her lips trembled. "My mother gave it to me. She said it was all she had." Nicholas felt cold all over. His grandmother had one child, his father. That was it. So how could this woman's mother have the same necklace? Nicholas could still remember the day the necklace vanished. He had been 21. His grandmother had just passed away. The house was full of relatives and quiet tears. And then, gone. The necklace disappeared. He had searched, asked questions, hired people, but nothing came. And now, all these years later, it had appeared again. Not in a museum, not at an auction. Around the neck of a stranger in a borrowed dress. Nicholas stepped closer. "Who was your mother?" he asked. Isla looked at the floor. Her name was Maria. The name hit him like a wave. Maria. A name his father never allowed in their home. A name whispered in angry tones. He had been too young to understand, too scared to ask. Now he wanted answers. Isla's eyes filled with tears. She never talked about her past, she said. Only that. She was not wanted. Nicholas clenched his jaw. This was wrong. This made no sense. He wanted to walk away, to forget, to leave the past alone. But he couldn't, not with that necklace shining under the ballroom lights, not with her eyes looking just like his grandmother's, not with a secret waiting to be uncovered. Awesome. Let's keep peeling back the layers, slow, emotional, and full of silent tension. Isla sat on the steps behind the kitchen. Her shift was over, but her heart was still racing. That man, Nicholas, had looked at her like she didn't belong, like she had stolen something, like she was the secret. She touched the necklace gently. The gold felt warm against her chest. Her mother used to say, "This locket holds more than just a picture. It holds truth. even if people try to hide it. But Isla never understood what that meant. Maria, her mother, had died when Isla was 12. They lived in small apartments, moving often. Maria worked 2 jobs. She never smiled much, but she always kissed Isla's forehead and said, "You are more than you know." Now, Isla wondered what she really meant. That night, Isla opened the locket. Inside was a small old photo, faded but clear, a young woman holding a baby. The woman was smiling. She wore the same necklace. She wasn't Isla's mother. She looked older. Her hair was pinned up neatly. Her eyes were soft but tired. And the baby had dark eyes, like hers. Isla had seen this photo 1,000 times, but tonight it felt different. "Who are you?" she whispered. Something was pulling her. A thread of truth just waiting to unravel. Nicholas couldn't sleep. He stood in his study, looking out the window. The city lights blinked in the distance. On his desk lay an old photo album. He flipped through pages until he found it, a photo of his grandmother holding him as a baby, around her neck, the emerald locket. He remembered her voice, soft and warm. "Family is everything, Nicky, but not everyone gets to be part of it." As a child, he thought it meant people outside the family. But what if? What if it meant someone inside the family? He closed the album and picked up his phone. Find everything you can about a woman named Maria. No last name, just Maria. Connected to my grandmother. Go back as far as you need. The next morning, Isla walked out of her tiny apartment building. A black car was parked across the street. A man in a grey suit stepped out. He had sharp eyes and a cold smile. "Miss Carter?" he asked. She nodded, nervous. "Mr. Davenport would like a word." She hesitated. "I already told him everything I know." The man smiled again. "He believes there's more, and he's not wrong." He opened the car door. Isla looked back at her building. Then, with a shaky breath, she got in. Nicholas was waiting inside a quiet office. Isla entered, her hands clenched. He stood slowly, his voice firm but calm. "I want the truth." She sat across from him, keeping her back straight. "So do I." Nicholas slid a folder across the table. "This is everything I've found on Maria, your mother." Isla opened it with trembling fingers. Photos, documents, a birth certificate, hospital records. At the bottom, an old letter written in neat handwriting. "I'm sorry, Mama. I can't stay. You said she'd never accept me. I'll raise the baby on my own. Please forgive me. Love, Maria." Isla's eyes filled with tears. She was her daughter. Nicholas nodded. "My grandmother's secret child, and that makes you." He paused. "My sister." Isla stared at Nicholas. "You think I'm your sister?" she whispered. Nicholas didn't blink. All the pieces fit. Same necklace, same photo, same name. "But why was she disowned?" Isla asked, her voice cracking. "Why did she hide me? Why didn't anyone help us?" Nicholas looked away. He didn't have the answers. And that scared him. He had grown up in luxury, private schools, maids, bodyguards. Isla had grown up hungry, alone, fighting to survive. "If what you're saying is true," Isla said, "then your family threw my mother away like she was nothing." Nicholas flinched, because deep down he feared it was true. Nicholas arrived at the Davenport estate. The house was cold, quiet, too clean. His father was in the study, reading the paper. "We need to talk," Nicholas said. "Can it wait?" his father replied without looking up. "It's about grandmother and Maria." The paper dropped. His father's face went pale. "Where did you hear that name?" "From her daughter," Nicholas said. "My sister." Silence. "That girl is not your sister," his father snapped. "Maria was a mistake. She should have never existed." Nicholas's chest tightened. "She was your sister," he said slowly, "and you let her suffer." His father stood, face red with anger. "She made her choice." She walked away from this family. Don't you dare drag her back in. But Nicholas wasn't a boy anymore. He wouldn't look away. Not this time. That night, Nicholas returned to his grandmother's old house. It had been locked for years. Dusty, full of memories. He searched the bedroom drawers until he found a box. Inside, old letters tied with ribbon. He opened one and began to read. Maria was fire. I loved her with all my heart, but society would never accept what I could not change. I failed her, and now I fear I'll lose her forever. Tears pricked his eyes. His grandmother had loved Maria. She hadn't wanted to erase her. She had tried, but others, his father, maybe others too, had made sure she disappeared. He closed the box, heart heavy. Isla paced her tiny apartment. How could she be part of that family? The same people who let her mother suffer, who lived in gold while she ate cold soup from cans. He says he's my brother, she whispered to herself. But what does that even mean? Her phone buzzed. Nicholas, I found letters. She loved your mother. She tried to protect her. Please let me show you. Isla stared at the screen. She wanted to throw the phone across the room, but part of her, a very small part, wanted to believe him. Nicholas booked a table at a quiet rooftop restaurant. Not fancy, not loud. He waited nervously, checking his watch every 5 minutes. Finally, Isla walked in. She wore a simple dress, no makeup, but she looked strong, proud. He stood. Thank you for coming. I didn't come for you, she said. I came for answers. Nicholas nodded. Then let's find them together. The waiter came and poured water. As they sat, the city lights twinkled behind them, but inside both of them, old wounds had just begun to open. Let's keep the slow burn alive. Family tension, buried memories, and cracks in the armor. The food sat untouched. Isla stared at the skyline. Nicholas watched her, unsure what to say next. Did your father ever mention her? She asked. Nicholas shook his head. He only ever said one thing: some things are better forgotten. Isla's lips curled in pain. Funny. That's what my mother said too, but not in anger, in shame. Nicholas wanted to say sorry, but sorry felt small, weak. So he stayed quiet. Why now? Isla asked. Why do you suddenly care? He looked her in the eyes. Because I saw you, and I saw her, and I couldn't ignore it. Isla didn't reply, but her eyes softened for just a second. The next day, Nicholas visited his grandmother's lawyer. The man was old, thin, with white hair and shaky hands. I was wondering, Nicholas said carefully, did she ever write anything about Maria? The lawyer hesitated. Then he stood and unlocked a drawer. Your grandmother made 2 wills, he said. One for the public, one private. Nicholas's heart thudded. Inside the envelope was a handwritten note. To my firstborn, Maria, I leave this locket and a letter. I pray it finds her. If not, I pray it finds her child. Nicholas closed his eyes. It was real. Isla was family. Back at the company, Nicholas walked into a meeting. Halfway through, one of the board members, Margot Lane, his father's close ally, stood and spoke sharply. I hear you've been meeting with a waitress. Nicholas froze. Her name is Isla, he said, and she's my sister. A wave of whispers spread across the room. You're risking the company's image, Margot said. This scandal could break everything. Nicholas looked around the table. Men in suits, cold eyes. Then let it break, he said quietly. I'm not hiding the truth. Margot's face twisted. Your father won't like this. Nicholas's jaw tightened. Let him come. That night, Isla sat by her window, holding the necklace. She remembered being 5, her mother crying in the kitchen, a torn photo in her hands. Why don't they love us? Isla had asked. They do, her mother whispered. They just forgot how. Now she wondered if that was true, or just something kind people say when hearts are broken. Nicholas arrived at Isla's apartment. He looked tired, but calm. "You were right," he said. "They tried to bury her, but she didn't stay buried." He handed Isla the secret will. Her fingers shook as she read. Tears slipped down her cheeks. "She wanted me," Isla said softly. "She wanted us." Nicholas sat beside her. "They tried to erase her, but they can't erase you." They sat in silence, and for the first time in years, Isla didn't feel alone. Let's turn up the heat. Truth surface, loyalties break, and the past refuses to stay buried. Isla returned to the apartment with the will pressed tightly to her chest. That night, she opened her mother's old suitcase, still dusty and locked under the bed. Inside was a small wooden box with a faded flower carved on top. She slowly lifted the lid. Letters, old ones, all addressed to Eleanor Davenport, Nicholas's grandmother. One caught her eye. "Mama, they won't let me see you. Nicholas was just a baby the last time I held him. I wish he could know me. I wish he could know Isla." Isla's hands began to shake. Her mother had tried. She wasn't hiding. She was locked out. Nicholas waited outside the clinic, tapping his foot. Isla finally came out, holding a folded paper. "It's done," she said quietly. They sat in his car, neither speaking. "Whatever it says," Nicholas began, "it doesn't change what I've seen, what I know." Isla looked out the window. It might change everything. 3 days later, the results arrived. Nicholas opened the envelope. DNA match. 99.98% sibling relationship confirmed. He let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. She was his sister. Not maybe, not possibly. His blood, his family. Nicholas received an unexpected message. A video. He clicked play and saw his grandmother sitting in a garden. "If you're watching this, then Maria's child has returned." Her voice was soft, tired. "I loved her, and I loved the baby she carried. But your father, he couldn't accept her. He said she would ruin the family name." Her eyes glistened. "If Nicholas is watching, please protect her. Don't let the past repeat itself." Nicholas stared at the screen, tears slipping down his face. "I will," he whispered. "I promise." Back at the company, Margot Lane made her move. She leaked Isla's name and story to the press. Spun it as a waitress pretending to be a Davenport to steal wealth. The headlines spread like wildfire. Gold digger sister. Heir or imposter? Paparazzi camped outside Isla's apartment. Cameras flashed. Strangers shouted cruel names. Nicholas called her in panic. "I'm so sorry, I'll fix this." Isla's voice was hollow. "They hate me, just like they hated her." Nicholas clenched his fists. He wouldn't let history repeat. He was done being silent. Nicholas called a press conference. Cameras flashed as he walked to the podium. "The woman they're calling a fake, Isla Carter, is my sister." Gasps. "The necklace she wears belonged to our grandmother. The DNA proves our blood, but I don't need tests. I have letters, a will, and my own eyes." He paused. "Our family tried to hide her mother. They failed. And now they want to hide Isla too." He looked straight into the cameras. "I won't let them." Behind the crowd, Isla stood watching, and for the first time, her eyes filled not with fear, but pride. Let's keep the emotion raw and real. Wounds open, trust deepens, and love begins to bloom between broken souls. The press didn't stop. They followed Isla everywhere, grocery store, bus stop, even to work. At first, she tried to ignore them. But one morning, she found graffiti on her apartment door. "Fraud. Go back to the streets." She froze. Her chest felt tight, her vision blurred. She slammed the door shut and collapsed on the floor, sobbing into her knees. "I didn't ask for this," she whispered. "I just wanted to know who I was." In that moment, Isla didn't feel like a sister, or a secret, or anything special. She felt lost. Nicholas knocked on her door that night. When Isla opened it, her eyes were red and swollen. He stepped inside, silent, set a paper bag on the table. "Soup," he said, "from that diner you like." She looked at him. "Why are you being nice to Mem?" "Because I failed to protect you," he said softly, like they failed to protect her. Tears welled in her eyes again. "I didn't want this life. I didn't want money or cameras. I just wanted to belong somewhere." Nicholas reached out and held her hand. "Then let's build somewhere, together." Nicholas brought Isla to the Davenport estate, not as a guest, but as family. He opened a room upstairs. It had once been his grandmother's private space. "This used to be hers," he said. "Maybe it should be yours now." Isla stepped inside. The room smelled like lavender and dust. She touched the old books, sat on the window seat, ran her fingers along the desk. "She would have loved you," Nicholas said quietly. Isla smiled a little. "I think I feel her here." For the first time, she didn't feel like a stranger in the house of wealth. She felt home. Nicholas set a long wooden table for two. He cooked simple food. Nothing fancy, just what he remembered his grandmother used to make. Isla laughed when he dropped a spoon. "You're a billionaire who can't boil rice? I build companies, not casseroles," he said, grinning. For a moment, the pain faded, the past quieted, and two broken people just shared a meal. "You were always the one missing," Nicholas said, "even when I didn't know it." Isla looked at him, eyes shining. "I think I was looking for you too." Later that night, Nicholas walked her to the guest room. As Isla paused at the door, she whispered, "If she hadn't been thrown out, do you think we would have grown up together?" Nicholas nodded slowly. "I would have shared my toys. You'd probably boss me around." She smiled softly. "I still might." They both laughed, but the laughter was followed by quiet, sad, heavy quiet, because they both knew they would never get those years back. But maybe they could make something new together. Nicholas's phone rang. The caller ID made his jaw clench. "Margot Lane." He answered. "Step down," she said without greeting. "The board is tired of your personal drama." "It's not drama. It's my family." "It's a stain," she snapped. "If you want to keep your title, cut her off." Nicholas didn't speak. "The board will vote tomorrow," she said. "Either Isla goes, or you do." The line went dead. Nicholas stood still, the city buzzing outside his office. He had built this empire with blood and sweat, and now, to protect his sister, he might have to lose it all. Isla found him standing in the hallway, staring at nothing. "What is it?" she asked. He told her everything, the vote, the threats, the cost. Isla stepped back, shaking her head. "You can't lose everything because of me." "It's not because of you," Nicholas said. "It's because of them, and I'm done letting them control what matters." "I'll leave," Isla whispered, quietly, "if it saves you." Nicholas grabbed her shoulders, voice firm. "I already lost one sister to silence. I won't lose another." The boardroom was full. Nicholas entered alone. Calm, steady. "You've asked me to choose between my seat and my sister," he began. "That choice is easy." He placed a resignation letter on the table. Gasps. "I won't run a company that punishes truth and hides blood." Margot glared. "You're throwing it away for someone you just met?" Nicholas turned. "No, I'm giving it up for someone I should have known all along." And with that, he walked out, head high. News broke fast. Nicholas Davenport steps down. Fortune or family? Reporters surrounded Isla again. Microphones. Flashes, voices. "Did you make him quit? Are you taking over the company? Was this your plan all along?" Nicholas arrived in time to pull her away. They locked themselves in his car. Isla covered her face, breathing hard. "They'll never stop." "Then we'll outlast them," he said gently. She looked at him, tired but not broken. "Why are you doing this?" "Because you're my sister," he said, voice thick, "and I finally remember what that means." That night, Isla opened one last envelope from her mother's box. Inside was a letter never sent. "If Nicholas finds you, tell him he used to smile all the time. Tell him I'm sorry. I wanted to be there." I prayed for him every day, and for you." Isla pressed the letter to her chest. She walked into the hallway where Nicholas sat, staring at the city lights. "She never stopped loving us," she said. He looked up, eyes shining. "Then maybe we can finally start loving ourselves." They didn't speak after that. They didn't need to. Let's move gently into the resolution, where healing begins, love deepens, and the past gives way to hope. Nicholas woke up later than usual. No early meetings, no emails, no boardroom battles. He stood in the kitchen, making coffee like a regular man, not a CEO. The silence felt strange, but also peaceful. He looked out the window. The sun touched the rooftops gently. Isla walked in, rubbing her eyes. "You look weird," she said. "I'm making breakfast. Apparently, I have time now." She smiled. "You still can't cook eggs." They both laughed. It wasn't the life he had built, but maybe it was the life he needed. Isla walked past a community center one afternoon. A group of girls were inside, learning to read. One of them reminded her of herself, tiny, quiet, forgotten. She stepped in and watched from the doorway. The teacher looked up. "Can I help you?" Isla smiled softly. "Maybe I can help you." The woman handed her a book. Isla sat down with the girls, reading aloud. Her voice shook at first, but the girls listened, really listened. When she finished, one of them whispered, "You sound like someone important." Isla blinked, holding back tears. "Maybe I am." Nicholas took Isla back to the old family estate. They walked through the dusty halls together. In one corner, they found a sunroom full of plants, wilted but alive. "She used to sit here every morning," Nicholas said. "Maybe we should bring it back to life." Isla nodded. They spent the afternoon pulling weeds, opening windows, watering soil. Sunlight poured through the glass, warming their skin. By evening, the room felt different. Open, new. "It smells like her again," Isla whispered. Nicholas closed his eyes and nodded. "She'd be proud of you." Weeks passed. Isla started working part-time at the community center, reading, helping, teaching. Nicholas stayed quiet in the background, building something new, slowly, with heart. One night, he showed Isla a sketch on his tablet. "I'm designing a foundation, in her name, your mom's." Isla stared at the screen. Her mother's name, Maria's Light. "What would it do?" she asked. "Scholarships, shelter, literacy, and a center for forgotten stories." Tears slid down her face. She always said the world didn't have space for people like her. Nicholas smiled softly. "Then we'll make space." At the back of a dusty closet, Isla found a box marked Eleanor's letters. Inside was a letter addressed to both her children. "If this ever reaches you, know I loved you both in every way I knew how. I was raised to hide pain, not share it. But I pray you grow stronger than I did, kinder, freer." Nicholas read it beside her. Neither spoke, but in that silence, they knew they had already begun to do just that. "All right, let's enter the final stretch. The storm is over. But the past still has one last card to play." One evening, Isla was organizing old family photos when she found something strange. A torn picture. It showed her grandmother holding 2 babies, not one. She blinked, then looked closer. One baby had a tiny blue sock, the other wore a pink one. "Nicholas," she whispered, showing him the photo. "That's not just you." Nicholas stared at it. "That's impossible. I was an only child." Isla's voice trembled. "What if you weren't?" They searched through drawers, letters, attic boxes. Finally, tucked inside an old diary, they found an entry. The twins were born early. Maria took Isla. Eleanor kept Nicholas. But what happened to the second boy? Nicholas's hand went cold. A second boy? A knot twisted in Isla's stomach. "There's someone else out there, Nick." A week later, Isla was walking past a bookstore when a man caught her eye. Tall, dark hair, familiar eyes. He was arguing with the cashier about a job application. "I just want a chance," he said, voice frustrated. "Don't look at my past. Just look at what I can do." Isla froze. Her breath hitched. He looked, just like Nicholas. "Wait," she whispered. "That can't be." Nicholas found the man days later. His name was Liam Chase. Grew up in foster care, no family, no past. Nicholas showed him a photo of their grandmother. Liam frowned. "I've seen her before. In a dream, I think." A DNA test confirmed it. He was the third sibling, hidden, forgotten, lost in the system. Nicholas, Isla, and Liam sat on a park bench, silent. 3 people from the same bloodline, strangers with overlapping pain. "What now?" Liam asked. Nicholas looked at Isla. "We begin again." In the garden of Eleanor's estate, Nicholas set up a camera. The 3 of them stood side by side, awkward at first. But Isla slipped her arm through Liam's. Nicholas smiled slightly. "Let's make this the first photo," he said. "When no one is missing, click, a new memory. A real one." An anonymous source leaked private documents about the Davenports' hidden daughter and the twins' separation. Headlines exploded again. But this time, Nicholas, Isla, and Liam faced them together. In an interview, Isla said, "The truth was buried, but we dug it up, and now it's our story to tell." She looked into the camera. "We're not broken. We were just waiting to find each other." The Maria's Light Foundation opened with a small ceremony. Kids ran across the lawn. Flowers lined the walkways. Laughter filled the air. Isla gave a speech, hands trembling. "We built this for people who were left behind, like my mother, like Liam, like me." Nicholas stepped beside her. "The past shaped us, but it doesn't get to define us." The crowd clapped. Liam smiled from the back, for the first time. He belonged somewhere too. That night, Isla sat beside Nicholas on the porch swing. "Do you ever think about how different life would be if we were raised together?" Nicholas nodded. "Every day. Do you regret finding Mem?" she asked. He looked at her, eyes full of emotion. Not even for a second. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Silence. Peace. Liam brought one last letter to the table, found tucked behind an old mirror. From Eleanor. "To my children, if the world tears you apart, find your way back. Love will always light the path, even through silence, even through shame." They read it together. No more secrets, only stories waiting to be told. One morning, Isla stood in the garden and watched a bird land on the windowsill. She turned to Nicholas and Liam. "Do you ever wonder if there's more family?" Liam asked. She nodded slowly. "More stories we haven't found yet." Nicholas smiled. "Maybe we haven't heard the last of the Davenport secrets." They laughed softly, but in the distance a figure stood watching from a black car. They didn't see her, not yet, but soon, very soon.